Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA show for the week. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Davey Boy Smith.
Thanks, Dynamite. Gary Rhodes, everybody.
Now the first thing we're going to talk about is the beginning of the show had Hulk Hogan and Bully Ray. If you didn't watch last week's show, they had 4 matches to impress Hulk Hogan to get a #1 contendership match, which didn't matter because the guy that won the #1 contendership wasn't in any of the matches.
It's his son-in-law.
What? TNA booking at its best, folks.
Gotta love it. I mean, I know you're kind of like half happy and half not, though, aren't you? I mean, that's your boy.
Well, I like Bully Ray, don't get me wrong, but nonsense booking to me kills the product. Why have those 4 matches if Bully Ray's going to be the guy and he's not in any of the matches?
Pretty much.
That's my theory on it. It bothered me a little bit. But you know what didn't bother me?
What's that?
We had the 4-man mega heel team versus the 4-face team. Kaz, Daniels, Aries, and Rude versus Joseph Park, James Storm, Chavo, and Hernandez. That was good. I like the mega heels. I think these four or actually 6 of these guys I think should be focal points in TNA. Kaz, Daniels, Aries, Rude, Storm, and Joseph Park. Chavo and Hernandez, not so much. Hernandez has, in my opinion, he's proven to be nothing more than a tag team wrestler or somebody's muscle.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. He just never impressed me. I'm sorry. You know, he's done a few little spots, but other than that, nothing great.
And Chavo, he's just Chavo. I mean, he's never going to light the buy rates on fire. Whereas any of these other guys, I think, can. Joseph Park, somebody that's ran with the world title before. Actually, most of these guys have run with the world title. Aries, Rude, Park, Storm. Kaz and Daniels haven't, but they've deserved to. They've had decent X Division runs, tag title runs.
Christopher Daniels is, to me, it's just so underused.
Yeah.
And I said, this was the high point of the show for me. I'm sorry.
I really enjoyed this match. I liked how Aries and Rude walked away, kind of like Rude did last week. I expected them to come back like that, but it kind of left Kaz and Daniels to take the clean pin. Everybody walks away looking strong. The heels do the heel move.
And what's funny is 3 of the 4 were unfortunate together.
Exactly. Remember they did that in the backstage segment. He goes, "Remember this?"
Oh, yeah, for a while.
Yeah. And then after that, we have Robbie E versus Rockstar Spud, his first match on television. I thought it was a good match. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I hope Rockstar Spud isn't someone that's just going to be a pure comedy gimmick. From what I've seen, he seemed to have some decent wrestling ability. Getting stuck with a guy like Robbie E, who does have great ability, but he's stuck in a comedy gimmick right now.
Well, we don't know how much longer that's going to last, though, since him and Robbie T broke up.
But I think Robbie T will be the serious one coming out of it. I mean, the guy's built like a monster. How could you not book him serious?
Well, they haven't so far. TNA booking at its finest.
Well, so far he's been greener than baby shit. But he's improving as he goes along. I will say that. I mean, he's nowhere near the best wrestler in TNA, but he's nowhere near the worst either.
True.
Damn true.
That's real.
And now our next match is the Knockouts Division Championship 4-way. We had Gail Kim versus the champion Tara versus Miss Tessmacher versus Velvet Sky. I thought it was a decent match. Some good spots out there. I didn't think there was any reason at all for Brooke Hogan to be out there, other than she's the leader of the division.
Well, you gotta give her some kind of freaking job. Gail Kim looks strong as shit, though.
I enjoy when they have the 4-ways and it's elimination, not, you know, the champion loses because Velvet...
Not a fatal 4-way.
Yeah, well, Velvet pinned Tess. I enjoyed that. I liked the order of elimination. I liked Tess go... Was Tess or Tara?
Tara went first. Champion went first, so you knew you were going to have a new champion.
Which is what they used to do in ECW with the 3-way dances. When they would change the title in a 3-way dance, the champ would always lose first. And then you're like, oh, we have a title change. We just don't know who it's going to be. Tara goes first, Tess goes second, and then Gail versus Velvet. Velvet takes and wins the championship. I think well deserved. She's been with the company for a really long time. She's fought through some injuries. She's fought through some bad contracts. She's probably, I know you think she is, and I'm probably right there with you, one of the more attractive females in wrestling, which brings a certain amount of viewership. And she's also damn good in the ring.
She is awesome in the ring, you know. I mean, she's not a Medusa or
no, Beth Phoenix.
Exactly, but she's does what she's there for. You know, she's not a cheerleader being a wrestler. She's an actual wrestler. And I give her all the credit in the world.
And it was a good win for her. I do like the fact that 2 titles have changed in England, leading to the World Championship aspect of it. You know, they can lose it anywhere in the world. I like that. Now, the next thing we want to talk about, speaking of champions...
To interrupt you, but the Hardy he can't go around the world.
Well, speaking of champions, our question of the week from last week is, has it hurt TNA's show that Jeff Hardy, the world champion, has not been on? Now, before we get into our opinion, we got an opinion from one of our friends, Joshua Adams, 1044. Well, TNA world title not being there hurts for sure. Hardy not being there has made the show a lot better to me. I think there's some good valid points there. There's good and bad points to him not being there. Him not being on every show is kind of a heel move. The heel usually takes a belt and doesn't show up, or shows up and says, oh, I got 30 days to defend it. I don't have to wrestle. I think, you know, to go with a global market, you want to take your world champion. Now, if Jeff Hardy, if Jeff Hardy missed the show in Mobile, Alabama, not such a big deal. They're going to come back through Mobile next year, or 6 months from now, or whatever. They're probably not going to go to England for another year, maybe 2. To not have the world champion when you go to a global show, and you're doing it somewhere, England, Japan, wherever they might go, I think it hurts the perception of the product. It makes it feel like they're getting an inferior product. Not everybody that's a wrestling fan reads the spoilers. Not everybody knows why Hardy's not there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What do you think of this situation?
I have to agree with you. What they should have done was let him drop it to Daniels the week before they start to take off. That way, exactly. He could have won it back when he came back. Daniels is a strong enough guy. He could have carried. I mean, he's carried a lot of good matches during the time they were over there, and he's a great entertainer. And they more like the comedy matches more over there than regular wrestling matches. What I've noticed, where I think he'd have been perfect over there, and you're giving him the respect of you're bringing a world champion there.
Exactly. I think that's why they did the 2 title changes, was because they don't have a world champion. Well, here's a title change. Here's a title change for you. Now, coming off that, speaking of Daniels, Christopher Daniels is one of the best heels in TNA. Our question of the week for this week is, who do you think the best heel in TNA is? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on our Facebook, put it on our Twitter, put it down where?
Up there.
Right down in our comments. Now, going back to the show, we have a kid that's a natural heel because of his last name and the fact that he's now affiliated with Aces and Eights, Garrett Bischoff, in his biggest match of his career to date against Samoa Joe.
I think the kid looked good. I mean, I know we rip on him a lot and stuff like that, but I think this is one of his best showings.
I thought he looked good. I think it was more Joe carrying him than anything else, which Joe can make anybody look like a star. I could go in there with no wrestling training and Joe could get a 3-star match out of me.
It's true, but I don't want to take away from Bischoff. I like the character of him being a heel. He's pulling it off really good. His cocky smirk as he's going to the ring, his cocky smirk, his cocky attitude during the match. I really enjoyed it.
I think he's pulling it off better than Wes Briscoe is. Wes Briscoe looks like a crybaby. He looks like he's
I want more.
My name's Briscoe. I should
fight more. I should fight for this.
Anyway, it was a decent match. You know, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I like Joe. I'm a big Joe fan, so it was decent. It was better than anything I've seen from Bischoff.
Well, speaking with Briscoe came out, caused interruption, got Bischoff disqualified.
Yeah.
And Angle comes out to make the save, which Angle and Briscoe were going at it at the pay-per-view.
Yep, in a steel cage match.
It's real.
It's damn real. And if Angle wins, Olympic wrestling is back.
That'd be nice. And I hope he destroys him.
Then we had another really good match, Kenny King versus Rob Van Dam for probably the 57th time in the last year. I like these guys' chemistry with each other. Every time they're in the ring together, they seem to do better and better with each other. They do a little bit more. It kind of reminds me of the old Rob Van Dam, Jerry Lynn feud, where every time they were in the ring, you expected this much, and then they would give you this much. Mm-hmm. And they would keep raising the bar, and I think this is what these two are doing here.
I wish King would get the belt from now, but I like what you're talking about there, is if they keep it going a little bit longer, the better King looks, the better they sell it.
Exactly. I like the match. Probably, other than the 8-man match, it's probably the best match on the show.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Now, coming off of that, we had the main event. We had any three members of Aces and Eights, which ended up being Doc, Devon, and Mr. Anderson, versus Bully Ray, Sting, and their partner was to be Hulk Hogan, but he never came out. Bully Ray and Sting held their own for a little while. When they got the upper hand, the other members of Aces and Eights bring out Brooke and a beat down Hulk Hogan. Which reminds me, before we talk about that, our Thunder Lips count for the week. We had 1, 2, 3 Thunder Lips.
Yeah, 3 count.
3 count for Thunder Lips.
3 count. It was a decent main event, but they were. You have an injured Bully Ray, a healthy Sting, sort of, and Hogan's nowhere to be found. They should have been getting their ass kicked the whole time, and it was kind of like they're almost like giving Bully the Hulk Hogan character. Which, if they do that, sorry. And I like Bully Ray.
I do.
But I would hate to see that kind of character on him.
The thing about it that I really hate doing this, and you know I do. I hate comparing the products because it's different products. Mm-hmm. But the way they book Aces and Eights is so bad, and it's made to look so bad. It doesn't matter that they're nobodies, lower card wrestlers. WWE's got the Shield. 3 guys that before Survivor Series, hardly, other than really big wrestling fans, nobody knew who they were. Some people that are indie fans did, some people that follow NXT did. The majority of the audience, 80 to 90%, had no clue who they were. They came in, made an instant impact, haven't lost since, continue to make an impact, and they look strong, and the fans believe in the Shield. And I know it's their catchphrase, but they really do. They believe in what they're doing. Aces and Eights, the fans aren't getting behind it. They're not booing, they're not cheering, because they're made to look so weak that nobody cares. Mm-hmm. They've lost every match. I can't remember a match they
won this one. But I mean, really.
I mean, this one they won when it ended up being 3-on-1 because Bully Ray was attending to his wife.
Over ye.
But in my opinion, the disparity between Aces and Eights and Shield shows how to book something properly and how not to book something properly.
Well, if we're going to do it like straight up, if we're going to do little factions right now that are in the business right now, Aces and Eights are the number 3 faction. You got Shield number 1, Scum number 2, and them by a distant 3. Yeah. I would have to say so. I mean, I like Scum.
Everybody likes Scum.
Who doesn't like Scum?
You're a Scum.
I know I'm a degenerate.
Well, I know I'm a degenerate.
Well, I guess that makes me one too. You might not get it. Some of the younger ones might not get it.
They'll get it.
You never know.
They just put out a DVD.
Oh, true.
It's damn true.
Anyways, catchphrases and all. On our new rating system, what would you rate the show?
Well, let's remind them what the rating system is.
Exactly.
Now, we rate this from 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. 1 is a Garrett Bischoff, 2 is a Christian York, 3 is a James Storm, 4 is a Christopher Daniels, 5 is a Kurt Angle. Obviously, you get it. If you watch TNA, you know these guys' talents. I would say, honestly, I would rate this a Christian York a 2.
I'm right there with you. I mean, there's 2 high points in the show, and That's what got the points. Other than that, it would have been a Bischoff all the way. Was the 8-man match and the Kenny King RVD match. That was the only two saving graces of the show.
Exactly.
I like the Velvet spot, but really, I'll remember Kenny King's spot more.
That's not a needle mover to me.
No.
I mean, it is what it is. I wanted it to be better, and it has been better. You could obviously tell that this was the fourth taping. I think they taped the last 4 episodes in 2 nights, so you could see where it's worn down. The crowd's not as into it. The wrestlers aren't as into it, and it showed through on the product. To me, it was, they put down the booking sheet and said, okay, let's put these 4 against these 4. You guys are here. Rockstar Spud, you're here. Here you go. Here's a match. You know, and they just put out what they could and gave Hulk Hogan 3 spots on the show to stroke his ego.
I have to agree with you. It could be so much better with the talent they got.
Yep.
It's just so subpar. And that's why we're so hard on it, because, I mean, it could be a good product. It could be a great product.
Look at the guys that are on this show tonight.
You got guys that's...
We'll just go through. Guys that could be main eventers in any company. Kaz, Daniels, Aries, Rude, Storm. Hernandez if booked properly.
Well, you got Kurt Angle there.
Samoa Joe.
A man main evented WrestleMania once.
Yeah, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Rob Van Dam, Kenny King, Mr. Anderson.
So underused.
I mean, they've got guys. They've got the talent to give us better than this, and they don't. And that's what's so disappointing about TNA, and that's why they don't build their ratings, and that's why we're giving this show such a crappy rating, because the effort's just not there.
When you talk Anderson, every time he wrestles, most part, his singles matches are against Kurt Angle. It's like he's there to be Kurt's jobber. He's so much better than that. You know, he could have... I mean, he's been their champion before. Now he's reduced to being a second, third fiddle in the Aces and Eights.
Yep. Well, basically, that's all I got to say about the show. Is there anything else you needed to add?
Disappointed.
There you go. My name's George Coles.
Gary Rhodes.
And this has been Heel Heat.